Good evening. This is the election season happening in India. So let's look at some of the terms that are related to elections. First, I'll show you a question. Then we'll be moving to other topics. Supreme Court has given some time to the Election Commission to explain more on VVPATs. So this also I discussed with you last week, and in continuation that what Supreme Court said, let's try to understand. Apart from this, Supreme Court also asked the government of India regarding imposition of the jail terms. Meaning, if somebody commits crime, the person will be given the sentence. He'll be imprisoned. Like in two cases, in two different cases, two different convictions are there. Then how do you implement that one? Whether it will be implemented consequently or concurrently. So, what is the difference between these two? Let's try to understand. And India also got very powerful Chinooks. So these are the modern helicopters, and they have been inducted into our Indian Air Force. And what exactly is that? Let's try to understand. Apart from this, I would like to discuss even regarding the electoral bonds. So what exactly are they when they have been introduced? Right, let me tell you. This is a possible question. This is a possible question, like in which year the electoral bonds have been introduced in India. Answer is 2017. Answer is 2017. This is a mechanism where an individual can donate to a political party through banking system, right? And what are the these lacunae that are present over there? And we'll discuss all these things one after the other. But straight away, let me open the document now. I would like to show you one question, then we'll have a discussion and we'll be moving further. Now, so now kindly have a look at this. Excuse me. Just a moment. Now, so you may please have a look at this. Yeah. So now if you look at this clearly, the first one, right? And above this, we can see very clearly, think big, Vidyarthi, Bharat Ki Shakti, that we are going to launch very, 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 very soon, right? And kindly wait for some more days, a few more days for this announcement. So the first question for today is psephology. Psephology is a study of, very, very, very important one. Psephology is a study of elections and voting patterns. Option D is the answer. This is a part of political science, my dear friends. Sometimes, and the questions like this are also the questions in the examination. That's the reason why I gave you this. Please remember. So this is called psephology. This is nothing but it's a study of elections and voting patterns. Look at this. Option D is the answer. Look at this. Very, very important. This is a branch of political science, meaning psephology is a branch of political science. So now the point is that elections and voting patterns. Now, if you look at this, if you look at India, people will vote in different ways in different elections. That is the reason why sometimes if you look at India in the beginning, Congress party was ruling at the central level and in most of the states. But over a period of time, what happened? Congress party continued to rule at the central level, but slowly in the states, the regional parties have started dominating. And if you look at India even today, so many states are being ruled by the regional political parties. So what exactly the pattern, this how exactly the pattern is getting changed, and what exactly is a reason why these changes are coming up. So this is all the behavior of the voters. So obviously, so you need to, the government of the day must serve the needs of the people, right? So making promises is different when compared to the performances. So that is the reason why if you look at last 5 years in India, of course, there is a rule by BJP headed National Democratic Alliance. So now the elections have been announced and different political parties are coming into the picture, and they are promising so many things to the people. And how exactly, the voter behavior will change now, how exactly the pattern will change now, and which party will come to the power, right? And study of that very carefully is considered to be Psephology. But when it comes to India, we are the largest democratic country in the world, we know that. But how do you assess the behavior of the these voters? It's very difficult because of the this larger area. So India is a very large country, and people are different, are living in different regions. We have different languages, so we have different requirements. All right, that is the reason why people this analyzing and studying the behavior of the people in countries like India is really a difficult task. If it is a small country, small number of voters, that may be very easy. But when it country comes to countries like India, it is really very, 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 very difficult one, right? So now let me once again open the document. One second. Right. Right. In which country it is more difficult, and why? Right. So in countries like India, so where we have larger number of population, a largest democratic country in the world, right? So different needs, requirements, different regions, religions, right? Different aspirations, and obviously, so finding it out is really a difficult task in countries like India, right? So this is the so-called Psephology. Please remember this word. So now another important one. Yeah. So this is something called electoral bonds. On this, what exactly are these? So we know that there is a mechanism to donate to the political parties. But in what way you are donating, right? So maybe in the form of cash, in some other manner. So the people are donating, and larger institutions or organizations are also donating. So there is no account of that. So that is the reason why, so to make the money to flow to the political parties in a definite manner and a legal manner, a new concept called electoral bonds have been introduced in the year 2017. And in that year also we have discussed regarding electoral bonds, right? I explained you in a very detailed manner. So now the point is different. Subject is same, but the point is different now. So the point is that, what are the various acts that were amended to allow the donations of the people to various political parties through banks? Clear? So this is what happened in the year 2017, and in order to create or formulate this facility, certain acts have been amended. Now the question is that, what are those acts that have been amended? Look at this. Electoral bonds were introduced in the year 2017. It may be a straight question. They may ask you in any examination. Please remember this one. It was introduced in the year 2017 through Finance Act by amending so ABCD, right? Four acts have been given. We need to find out what are the acts that have been amended to facilitate the introduction or initiation of electoral bonds, right? And you know the names of all these acts, right? Reserve Bank of India Act of 1935, Representation of People's Act of 1951, similarly Income Tax Act of 1961, Companies Act of 2013. Fine. So these are the four acts. So now the point is that, what are the acts that have been amended for the introduction of electoral bonds in the year 2017? And you can choose the correct answer from the below, and all A, B, C, D are correct. Meaning, for the introduction of these electoral bonds, all the four acts have been amended. All the four have been amended. So please remember this. So this is the season of the elections, and these are all the very, very important and prominent questions. Look at this answer is 4, right? Now, so now the next concept is that, VVPAT, right? Can you please tell me? You cannot tell, right? Uh, so just think in your mind. I'm asking you a question. Think in your mind, like mm, and obviously it should be correct because you know the answer for this. Who recommended for the introduction? Who recommended for the introduction of the VVPATs, or on whose directions VVPATs have been introduced? I explained you what are the VVPATs, voter verified paper audit trail. That I have explained you what exactly is that. This is an this device that can be attached to the electronic voting machine, through which we can see, on the slip we can see whether we have voted for the right candidate to whom we wanted to vote or not. So this is a VVPAT. So now the point is that who directed for the introduction of VVPATs? Answer is Supreme Court, right? You must be aware of that. Now, in the year 2013, for the first time, Supreme Court directed the Election Commission for the introduction of the, this VVPATs. Because since beginning, so many political parties have raised objections with respect to the effective functioning of the electronic voting machines. If I may be voting for a political party, that may be getting casted to some other political party. So certain political parties have raised objections since then, and even today also this is being a question, right? And so many political parties have requested the Supreme Court to give directions to the Election Commission that apart from counting through EVMs, you should also count VVPATs. And the petition is very much there before the Supreme Court. So yesterday, Supreme Court asked the Election Commission to give the explanation. This Deputy Election Commissioner has appeared before the Supreme Court, and he tried to explain and convince the Supreme Court of India, saying that whatever the VVPATs we are using, so that is very much scientific, right? But how exactly you are going for this VVPATs? Whether all the VVPATs are being counted or no? If you take this one assembly elections. So in one assembly constituency, election commission is taking only so one polling booth, and randomly they'll pick up one polling booth, and there, so they are counting the VVPATs. So whether the votes that are polled through EVMs are matching with the VVPATs or not. If there is a discrepancy, election commission may take a decision and the election will be conducted again. But now so many political parties are demanding that VVPATs must be counted, right? So now the point is that, so in the assembly elections, randomly you are picking up the VVPATs or this EVMs, from one polling booth, and you are counting it there. So this is the general procedure. But if it is a Lok Sabha election, what you should do? If it is a Lok Sabha election, the procedure followed by election commission is that if it is Lok Sabha election, from every Lok Sabha constituency, randomly pick up one assembly constituency and count for the VVPATs. So this is the procedure that is being followed by election commission, and the election commission wanted to explain the same thing to the Supreme Court, and this is what we are following. Scientifically, this is correct. So many reports have also been submitted that everything is going on well, but Supreme Court was not happy. Supreme Court was not happy, and the Chief Justice of India, Justice Ranjan Gogoi, he was very serious about this. It seems that he was visibly annoyed with the answer that is given by this deputy election commissioner. He asked some questions directly to the deputy election commissioner, that who introduced these VVPATs. You are talking so much about these VVPATs now. Can you please tell who introduced these VVPATs? Were they introduced by election commission, or did you introduce that on the direction that is given by the Supreme Court? Right? Justice Ranjan Gogoi was serious about this. And he also said that when we ordered for the introduction of the VVPATs, maybe you were not there in the election commission. But since you are there in the election commission, you are responsible and you have to give the answer for this. What is wrong? What is wrong if you go for counting more VVPATs than what you are doing? You may be satisfied with whatever you are doing, but people are not. Since we are living in a democracy, this is our responsibility to make the people get satisfied with our activities. That's what the Supreme Court said yesterday to the Election Commission. And Supreme Court wanted the Election Commission to file an affidavit on March 28th. Meaning, so March 20th again, Election Commission, meaning this Deputy Election Commissioner will be appearing before the Supreme Court and he is going to file the affidavit. So like this, these arguments and counter arguments, this is really wonderful, highly intellectual, you know, from various corners. Our judges are very intelligent, and election commission people are also very intelligent. So this is a place where we can see, these very healthy arguments, right? So this is what happened. And the Supreme Court also mentioned that no institution is above the constitution. What is wrong? What is wrong if you insulate yourself? If you insulate yourself and perform better. So this was a statement that was used by the election, by the Supreme Court against the Election Commission. Clear? Again, we'll have a discussion on March 28th. What the court says on this. Now, look at this. So VVPAT stands for Voter Verified Paper Audit Trial. On March 25th, 2019, meaning it was yesterday, the court directed the Election Commission of India to file an affidavit by March 28th, 2019, explaining why it seemed to be fully satisfied with restricting the counting of VVPATs to one polling station. You are counting VVPATs only in one polling station and you are satisfied completely. How is it possible? It's not your satisfaction, but the satisfaction of the people is very, very, very important. Next, think. These are the, these words were used by Honorable Chief Justice of India, Justice Ranjan Gogoi, yesterday. He said that no institution, however high, including the judiciary, should insulate itself from improvements. Meaning, you should keep on going for the improvements. That's what the Supreme Court said. Right? Now we still go further. Now, see here, you might have read somewhere, or some of you who are there in the, this legal profession, you may be aware of this, that sometimes, single person will be given two punishments. Single person will be given two punishments on two different, these crimes. So he has been maybe convicted in two different cases or three different cases, and obviously punishment should also be like that. But the point is that how do you give this punishment? So whether this punishment should be whether this punishment should be given consecutively or concurrently. Say, for example, in one case, the punishment is given for 15 years of imprisonment. In other case, the punishment is given, say, for example, 5 years. Should it be 15 years plus 5 years, or whether the 5 years is included in the 15 years? In most of the cases, even with respect to our criminal procedure code, these both jail terms, they run concurrently, simultaneously they will run. So meaning this 5 is also included in this 15, and total 15 years he'll be there and he'll be coming out. But in countries like United States of America, they run consecutively. First, you finish up your punishment, meaning the imprisonment in one case, then you need to follow the same thing, follow the punishment in the other case. But if you look at India, in certain cases, there are certain heinous, these crimes, maybe with relation to, this corruption, prevention of corruption act, this prevention of money laundering act. So these are the very heinous crimes. But in these heinous crimes also, if a person is convicted in convicted under two different acts, should it be concurrent or consecutive? So that's the point. And the Supreme Court petitions were filed before the Supreme Court. Supreme Court wanted explanation from the government of India, and the most of the people in the country also believe that concurrently it should not go, because the crime is so heinous. Obviously, that should go consecutively, right? So I'm opening the document. Kindly look at this. The Chief Justice of India asked the government to respond to a petition that various jail terms awarded to convicts under special laws on corruption and terrorism should run consecutively and not concurrently. You have to tell. And this is what is followed in the countries like United States of America. It is not concurrent but consecutively. The provisions of CRPC, Criminal Procedure Code, that allows varying jail terms to run simultaneously should not apply to convicts in heinous cases. Look at this. So this is what the section 31. And according to the petitions that are filed before the Supreme Court, section 31 of CRPC should not apply to special laws such as, right, Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, Prevention of Corruption Act, Prohibition of Benami Property Transaction Act, Prevention of Money Laundering Act, Foreign Contribution Regulation Act, Black Money and Imposition of Tax Act, Fugitive Economic Offenders Act. Please remember this one. This is very, very important. Why it is very important, I tell you. Why it is very important for you, I'll tell you. Some of the public service commissions, some of the state public service commissions in India, they are changing the syllabus and they are adding certain topics that are related to law. So obviously they wanted to see the higher standards in the aspirants. So apart from polity, constitution, governance, economy, international relations, science and technology, environment, and all the things, they wanted to test the knowledge of the people even in the law. For this reason, you need not be a legal expert. Please remember, whatever we are dealing with here, you just follow that. For example, if you look at Andhra Pradesh Public Service Commission, example I'm telling you, some states also introduced this. It has introduced the basic law in main examination of Group 1. So obviously, where do you prepare from? It is not just preparing the basics of those laws, but you need to write the examination along with the examples. And those examples should be current examples. Current examples means current affairs. You need to follow that. So these are the points that you are supposed to write in the examination. Hope you are getting this, right? And many states are also coming up with the this introduction of these subjects. That's the reason why don't neglect when you come across with any law. Kindly make a note of that and what exactly is for that, and also write down why it is there in the news, right? Next, look at this. This is what I was telling you. So this is a Chinook H-47F1. Indian Air Force inducted 4 Chinook helicopters on March 25th, 2019. Please look at this very carefully. These are modern, multi-mission capable, heavy lift transporter helicopters. So they can take the, this, say for example, people, this our military people may be injured. So during the time, so you can take them along with the stretchers. 25 stretchers can be placed here, heavy lift, and these will be absolutely useful. There is no doubt that our military strength, with the induction of these Chinooks, it will get strengthened more and more. And when it comes to finalization, the contract was finalized in September 2015 after the formation of the government by Mr. Narendra Modi, right? And the total number was 12, and 12 were supposed to reach India. But the first batch of 4 arrived in Mundra port in Gujarat in February 2019, meaning last month only. So we got it. Now they have been inducted into our Indian Air Force. Please remember, for any examination they may ask you where Mundra port is located. So this is located in Gujarat. And apart from that, you should also remember who is the Air Chief Marshal, right? As of now, so this is a gentleman on the screen here. Birender Singh Dhanova is the current Air Chief Marshal. Fine, that's all for the day. I'll see you tomorrow with the more and more current affairs. Thank you so much for being with me this evening. Take very good care. Good night.